You're listening to Cool Air Hot Takes.
Welcome, everyone, to Cool Air Hot Takes. You're listening to one of the top podcasts in the world that features two HVAC professionals that met in middle school. Now, you may not know that category exists, but it is a pretty huge one, and people are talking about it. I'm Dan, and this is Charlie.
Thanks so much for being here. Every couple of weeks, we get together and bring you the latest in HVAC news, a couple of hot takes, and expert interviews with industry leaders. This week, that interview is with Sam Brown. He's the Chief Development Officer for Serverfarm, one of the world's leading data center providers. And we're going to talk about, you guessed it, just like it sounds, we're going to talk about data centers. Specifically, we're going to get into site acquisition, the challenges that they face, and some of the next generation technology that's headed our way. We're also going to bring you HVAC Headlines, another episode of Dan Inside the Factory. If you've got names for that title, please send them our way, coolair.hottakes@trane.com, and then we'll finish up with Stat of the Day.
Ooh, going to be a hot episode. I like it.
All right, Danny boy, I had a epic week of pop-in culture.
Buckle up.
If you're not familiar with pop-in culture, go back to, I think it was season 1, episode 2. Give it a listen. But Tucker had a baseball game. Millie had a baseball game. There was an hour in between them, and we had an hour to kill. So what do you do when you've got an hour to kill?
Pop in.
That's right. Yep. Stopped over to Uncle Jimmy's on Kayla's, had a little cocktail, hung out, fixed their internet, helped them out a little bit. The next day, driving by my parents' house, and I see my Uncle Kyle's truck in the driveway.
All right.
And that is an absolute homing beacon. Like if you're into pop-in culture and you see a car that you know isn't normally there, and you have that opportunity to bring an extra pop-in to a pop-in that's already happening.
Is that a pop-in party?
It's incredible. And I hate this term, but I'm going to use it. It's the only time where it's applicable is where 1 + 1 might equal 3.
That is awesome.
Double pop-in, back-to-back days. It was great.
I love that.
All right, what do you got for a hot take this week?
Actually, I think I want you to go first.
I'm going to go first. All right, I'll go first.
I want to hear yours.
Okay. Mine's plant sizing.
I'm a big fan.
I don't know where to draw the line here. So let's go chilled water plant sizing. It's a topic we talk about often, you far more than I do. But for maybe, I don't know, let's draw the line at 1,000 tons. We'll call it 1,000 tons. If you're designing a plant less than 1,000 tons, my hot take is that you should not be designing them with all the same size chiller.
Yeah. You need some low-end turn down, maybe like a pony chiller.
Yeah. Pony chiller, heat recovery chiller, something to maximize the efficiency of the units that you put in there. Totally understand that is a more complicated system, but with the controls that we have today with chiller plant control, it is not hard to adequately stage. And with sensors, like the load that's in the building, or you should know the load that's in the building if it's a new plant. You know where the load is, and you know the capability of the plant that you have there. If you're looking to maximize efficiency, reliability, my hot take is we should stop designing plants with all equally sized chillers.
That's hot, and I like it, and I agree.
All right. What do you got? Why did I have to go first here?
Well,
now I'm very curious.
It was kind of it was a setup. It was a setup.
You're setting me up. What'd you read? You read my notes?
Sometimes I like to do a little dabbling just to make sure this all works. But because you brought up chiller plants, I'm going to stay in chiller plants, and I'm also going to give a little shout to my buddy Mr. Spresser out in Minneapolis, who was actually just full of hot takes the other day, and was so full I think he had to go cool down actually.
So it's more than just hot air. There's some takes in there too.
Yeah, yep. There are some takes.
Just kidding, Mr. Spresser.
And it was a great one though, and really aligns with yours. But this take, whenever you're looking at replacing a pony chiller, which is going to be a smaller chiller, maybe a swing chiller, some people call them in a plant, look at replacing that with a heat recovery chiller.
There you go.
A lot of times that's a smaller unit. Rule of thumb, it kind of works out pretty well for capturing some heat. It's not going to be every single time that works out, but it's definitely something you should look at and consider when you're in that situation. So thank you, Spresser, and make chiller plants hot.
Make chiller plants hot again?
Yes.
All right. Remember, listener, we want your hot takes as well. You can send us an email, coolair.hottakes@trane.com. You can leave us a review on Apple, or you can leave us a comment on YouTube or Spotify. You can also find all of this information in the show notes of every episode. Next up, we've got your HVAC headlines.
HVAC Headlines. Your news today.
All right, listener, it's 7 p.m. in Madrid. Here's your headlines. All right, this is less of a headline, more of an industry trend. There was a couple headlines that I've read over the past couple months, so just kind of conglomerated them into one. All right, but the general trend is private equity buying up independent contractors.
Why?
Great question. All right, and now this goes out. There's a couple people that have that I've worked with in the past that have gone into this space. Open invitation to send letters to the editor, to correct us or to provide their opinion on this one. But I'm just reporting some of the stuff that I've read.
Just the facts.
I don't know. It's hard to know what facts are when you're doing Google research. But, all right. So according to PitchBook, over 800 MEP contractors have been acquired by private equity since 2022.
Wow.
A lot. All right. So some of the major reasons why this is happening, one is private equity and these firms that are looking to invest their money. The MEP space, so smaller mechanical contractors, are looked at or are seen as fairly recession proof. They've been very resilient over the years because people need heating, they need cooling, and those are the people that are servicing that equipment and installing that equipment around the country. There's a perceived opportunity for operational improvement, so efficiency of scale. If you can take a small mom and pop shop and you can combine 10 of them together and kind of combine that back office, create processes, you can potentially improve the efficiency of those businesses. There's a growing demand generally across the country for higher efficiency units. A lot of that is code driven, but then there's also parts of the country that are looking to go with heat pump solutions, which are just generally more technical in nature and require a higher level of technician to install some of those pieces of equipment. Mm-hmm. And then the last bullet that I have here is fragmented across the country. So there's lots of small operations, combining that into scale. Yeah. There's opportunity for private equity. So here are the perceived positives of private equity coming into the space. The first one is it offers an opportunity for mom and pop shops to exit the business at probably an attractive price. Who knows what they would have been able to sell their business for locally. And so having this bigger company come in and offer them what they perceive as the worth of their business, that gives them a potential out. So that's one. Potential to infuse capital into a business to make it grow faster. Mm-hmm. Right. And so if you're a small company and you want to retain the ownership, but you want to grow, and there's this outside company that's willing to take a stake in the company and potentially fund some of that growth, it's potential upside there. Yeah. And then potentially you could have lower fixed costs and operating costs with larger scale. So if you combine a bunch of mechanical contractors together and you can buy at larger scale for components or service, you potentially lower the cost of the business.
That makes sense.
So those are the perceived positives. Perceived negatives here, all right? And this is where I would love to get some feedback, is there is likely going to be a culture shift from like a relational business to more of a metric-driven business, more of a corporate environment.
Yeah, kind of like the guy who's repairing your thing because you have coffee with him on Sundays or whatever.
Yeah. Who fixed your water heater?
Mr. Haith.
That's right.
Craft Plumbing. He did a heck of a job. And he's a buddy, and it's, I know him.
Yeah. Well, we won't talk about why you needed to fix it. Another one is potential rising costs to meet revenue targets. If you don't realize the efficiency that you think you're driving into the business and you've got these revenue targets or margin targets that you're looking to hit, could actually see the market go up. And then also, if you combine a bunch of local, smaller competing contractors into one business, lower the competition in a given market, which potentially could drive the cost up as well.
Yeah, that's an interesting headline. I guess we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yeah, certainly a trend in the business. If people have information out there, would like to share their opinion, send it our way. coolair.hottakes@trane.com. All right, up next, we've got Sam Brown. He's the Chief Development Officer at Serverfarm. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there, listener. Join 2025's Top VRF Questions Answered webinar on September 24th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Our ductless experts will answer your questions about best practices regarding VRF installations.
Doesn't matter if you install VRF systems daily or you're just getting started, we've got you covered. Tune in, grab the answers you need on everything from refrigerant piping to control integration, and get back to the job with confidence.
Out in the field during the webinar? No worries. Watch it whenever you want, on demand.
Go to Trane.com or click the link below to register. All right, listener. Of all the intros I've put together for guests on the show, this one has to have the highest potential for getting cut by legal. Sam, your friends, your quote unquote friends here, they did not hold back on stories. They spanned things from hikes gone sideways in Hawaii, groomsmen getting DUIs before the rehearsal dinner, USA World Cup cheers during a wedding ceremony. They really covered some ground. We're not going to go down that route. Where we will start is, listener, we have with us today a real data center professional. He's been in it his whole career, graduated from Mizzou and went right into the data center space. And he'll tell you all about his professional career in a second. But when he's not at work, it sounds like you can find him in one of two places. First is on the soccer field. He has 3 boys, by the way. I think our kids are almost identical in age. And second is on the links, because this man here has an index under 2, is what I hear, which is incredibly low. So welcome to Cool Air Hot Takes, Sam Brown.
Thank you guys so much. Happy to be here.
All right. So name of the show is Cool Air Hot Takes. We ask all our guests to come on, bring us a hot take, whether it's personal, professional, anything in between. So did you bring a hot take?
Yeah. I don't think liquid cooling is going to stay around. How about that one?
Whoa.
Oh,
Okay. So give the listener a little background on the difference and why that is such a hot take.
Everything within our customer delivery pipeline right now is based on liquid cooling. They're trying to get higher density cabinets and just fit more compute into a smaller space. Liquid cooling is a much more effective means of cooling these servers and facilitating a lot of the AI growth that our customers are chasing right now. But I just see there being this challenge with something's going to go wrong and someone's going to fry like $1 billion worth of GPUs or something.
Right. So like the typical technology that's at use today is either air cooled or liquid cooled. And there's this growing sentiment that everything is going to shift to liquid cool in the not too distant future. And you're saying, pump the brakes on that. What do you think? You think we're going to stick with air cooled, or do you think there's going to be another technology?
Honestly, I think that rear door heat exchangers, like close coupled air cooling, gives you an appropriate sort of safety factor in terms of the system being able to withstand step inputs like a utility outage or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like you have that thermal buffer and that thermal inertia that can help a system ride through a problem. Whereas when you're dealing with liquid cooled applications, there's just so much more compute in such a smaller space, and a step input like a utility outage, coupled with maybe something else that could go wrong, like it will have a much larger impact on the customer business.
All right.
I hadn't heard that. That's hot.
Perfect. You nailed it.
There you go.
All right. So you are the Chief Development Officer for Serverfarm. Mm-hmm. Can you quickly give us who is Serverfarm, what do you do, and then what do you do specifically as the CDO?
Yeah, so Serverfarm is a data center colocation company at its roots. So we're developing data centers. We operate the facilities that we own, and we lease them out to end users and then support whatever sort of facility level business needs they might have.
How long have you been doing this?
I'm going on my 15th year. So I've been here for a long time. Yeah.
So you kind of got to see it all then, being with it that long.
Yeah, I definitely know where all the bodies are buried, but so maybe that's why they're keeping me around. Yeah, exactly.
One of the questions that we got a lot is site acquisition for some of these data centers. And we're going to talk about power here, and I definitely want to ask you about that. But outside of power availability, what are the hurdles to siting some of these data centers? Because it feels like historically they've been clustered. You think of like Loudoun County in Virginia, Silicon Valley, and it's just, you just keep building out that same hub. But it feels like it's changing now. Some of that I'm sure is driven by AI and the different workloads. But what goes into siting a data center when you look at it from your seat, other than power? We'll talk about power in a little bit.
Sure. I mean, latency is always going to be a driver. AI sort of, neuters that a little bit. It's not quite as important just because of, what AI actually is. It's not like cloud where you're providing services yet.
Right. Latency for the listener is physical proximity to other data centers so that you don't have a lag between any of the processes. Is that accurate?
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, so latency would be the other big driver. Outside of that, it's real estate development. I mean, you're looking for a friendly municipality with, you have to have tax incentives of some variety because you just wouldn't be market competitive if you didn't.
What does that mean when you say tax incentive?
Yeah, so most of the tier 1 and tier 2 data center markets are going to have a sales tax exemption that is geared towards data centers. And there are certain metrics and thresholds that the applicant would need to meet in order to qualify for that sales tax exemption. So there's going to be a certain number of jobs that you need to create and employees that you need to have at that site. They need to make a certain amount of money. They might vary here and there between states, but those are going to be the key drivers. And it's a huge number. I mean, a 60 megawatt data center is going to have, $200 to $250 million in equipment. So, 10% sales tax or something like that, it moves the needle in terms of pro forma. And then that's the smallest piece. Then you have the customers that go and buy the servers that it's probably an order of magnitude more than that 250 number I just said.
Yeah. What makes a local municipality friendly?
Data centers do create quite a bit of tax revenue for the local economy. So big reason Silicon Valley has perfect roads and all of that infrastructure and new books and schools, it's data center revenue. It's a substantial amount of money. So they will court data centers to come in because they know it's going to create construction jobs and it's multi-year and it's supporting that sort of digital infrastructure industry, good jobs, things like that. So they want data centers for all of those reasons.
Yeah, it sounds like data centers are a good neighbor in your community.
We try to be. I think there's a lot of press right now about why they aren't good neighbors. I would just tell you, Serverfarm we are really good stewards of the environment, and we really do try to be fantastic neighbors. So we do everything that the zoning regulations and local municipalities and federal regulations would require us to do, from noise and emissions and things like that. But we don't use water. When we're doing maintenance, we try to do it at times when, if we're near a residential neighborhood, we're going to do it when they're not home, right? We're going to do it when they're at school, at work, so that, they don't have a bunch of generators running on a Saturday at 8 in the morning or something like that.
Like the neighbor that runs their lawnmower.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's just an unwritten rule. You don't do that.
Yes.
You don't run generators or lawnmowers before 8 o'clock.
There you go.
Yeah.
You said courting, and that's an interesting one. Do areas court developers to try to come develop something? And so I asked that partially because I'm curious. I recently joined the Wisconsin Data Center Coalition, which is a coalition of manufacturers in Wisconsin that are looking to bring data centers in because Wisconsin feels like it's behind in this build out. So are there coalitions like that are reaching out to you at Serverfarm and say, hey, we want you to come develop here? And is that even attractive for you? Or are you like, no, my clients want data centers in these 3 spots, like, thanks, but no thanks?
Really good question. I think it's a little from column A and a little from column B. So the vast majority of our development is going to be in tier 1 markets, right? Where it's established. I would say that it definitely happens. The gigawatt campus that we're looking at is absolutely one of those where they were courting a data center developer to come in. But the vast majority of our development is going to be in tier 1 markets where there's established customers.
What are the tier 1 markets?
I mean, Northern Virginia is the biggest. It's main and main in terms of data center demand. It is the largest market in the world, and unless they run out of power, it'll continue to be the largest market in the world. You have other ones. Dallas is huge. Atlanta's huge. Chicago's a big one. Ireland, Dublin is a massive market. London, Amsterdam. Those are all really, really serious data center markets.
If you had to bet on the next tier 1, who's coming in next?
I think Charlotte is a perfect market for data center development. I know some people are looking there, but they have infrastructure. It's close enough to Northern Virginia so that if you needed to have like some spillover capacity, you certainly could. I mean, right now, these hyperscalers are building for their own account, like in Ohio, New Albany. The development there is absolutely mind-boggling.
Let's go to power. Power's
Here we
a fun
go.
one.
More power, baby.
I've seen articles. It's like weekly. It's this trend of BYOP, bring your own power. And you see people buying nuke plants and talking about small modular reactors and hooking up fuel cells. Is that real? Is the microgrid, large hyperscale, big colo data center, is that going to happen? Or is that just...
It is happening.
It is. All right.
It is absolutely happening. What form the microgrid is going to take, I think, is still to be determined. There's on-site, natural gas reciprocating plants and turbines that definitely work. There are the SMR sort of approaches that I think are going pretty fast right now. Like there will be a use case for us all to evaluate with SMRs here in the very, very near future.
Oh, it sounds like you're under NDA, but I don't like it.
No, it's, yeah, that's right. I can't tell you. Part of our job is talking to peers and understanding what they're doing and how they're solving problems. And microgrids are absolutely going to be part of it. I think the interesting piece, so the utilities are going to be expanding as well, right? They have more red tape than a data center developer is going to have in terms of standing up generation assets, but they're going to do that. They're going to expand their ability to generate power and the reach of their transmission grid. And then the question becomes, okay, do we pull these microgrids onto our transmission network? And then there's like a sleeving arrangement. Now we have these generation assets as well. And I think that's going to be the compelling thing in the future, to understand how, again, being good neighbors, these data centers who are trying to go fast and solve these problems can actually solve national grid issues. You see that a lot more in Europe, but it will absolutely be part of the generation of power in the future for everybody.
Gotcha. What are you most excited about?
We get to build like really cool. Part of my leg is like, data centers are awesome.
I was just, okay, so before you answer that question, we were just in a family trip in St. Louis, and we're looking at the arch, and Dan goes, dude, we don't build anything like this anymore. And I was like, I think we do. You just don't see it. And I think it's data centers. I think that is like the new monument building of our generation. The scale you can't see, the size you necessarily can't see, but it is
impact to people.
Yeah, it's insane.
Very there.
Yeah.
That is really insightful. I mean, if we spent a little bit more money making them look nice, like you could probably say it kind of is.
You're probably right. You'd have the four corners of the earth coming to see the largest data center in the world.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
We could drive this.
Yeah.
It's an architectural beauty.
I would show my kids.
Absolutely. You've driven to see like the largest ball of yarn. Like, of course you go see the largest.
100%. Yes. All right. Well, hey, you include that in your next pitch for a gigawatt.
Yeah,
I want to see like a data center that looks like the Pantheon or something.
Yeah. It is so fun to build these things. When you're dealing with data centers, you're just dealing with a higher class of criminal. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a more sophisticated workforce. It's a more sophisticated construction team, design team. When you come in and you're talking to municipalities, they understand that it's a data center and they know that you're going to have your stuff together, and they are asking good questions. I don't know. I couldn't build a school. It's super important, but the pace and the scale and the sophistication, just data centers are awesome. Data centers rock. It's the best.
Yeah. All right. Last question. If you had a magic wand, you could change one thing in the data center space, what would it be?
That's a great question. I think that there's an intellectually dishonest conversation that happens with customers and developers all the time about schedule. People think that you can go faster than, say, the laws of physics can accommodate. That's the piece that gets me. They want you to go as fast as possible, work 3 shifts, work 7 days a week, get as many electricians as you can, get all these people ramped up, but then they want you to be as safe as possible. We want maximum safety and
zero risk.
Zero risk. Like the quality has to be good. I want the same expertise with the day shift electricians as the night shift electrician. You have to have maximum productivity all the time, 7 days a week. And it's not possible. Like, why are we even talking about it? Let's set the standard for pace and just go forward with it. But
yeah, and I'm sure you never get any faulty lead times from OEMs on chillers. I'm sure that never happens.
No, never.
No, it's everyone does as good as they can. As long as you step up to the plate and try to help solve the problem, you're good in my book.
Love it.
That's great.
Cool.
That was good.
No, fellas, I appreciate it. This was fun.
Sam, thank you so much for coming. That was an awesome conversation. Up next, Dan's going back inside the factory. Stay tuned. Dano.
Yeah.
What's available 24/7, 365 to keep your operations up and running?
Oh, it's all got to be ball bearings these days.
Well, that's a good line, but I'm talking about Trane Rental Services.
Oh, yeah. Whether you're dealing with seasonal demand, emergency needs, planned expansion, or those annoying production gaps, Trane Rental Services has got you covered.
They provide customized solutions to keep your operations running smoothly and avoid any costly downtime. The best part, they're available 24/7, 365.
And of course, it's easy to connect with them too. Check out trane.com/rentals to learn more today.
All right, listener, it's time for another installment of Dan Inside the Factory, or whatever we're going to call it in the future here. This was inspired by Gary Hill, who emailed us asking if we could get up close and personal to the Trane factories. And boy, did Dan ever deliver.
Oh, yeah. It's a good time.
So let us know if there's specifically anything that you want to see inside the factory, inside our labs, inside our offices. Send it over to coolair.hottakes@trane.com.
So as you know, last week we had SD Tierney on, and we walked through the chiller manufacturing facility to check out what that kind of looks like. This week, we're going to head over into the lab where product development and testing gets done, and we're going to go talk to one of the technicians that operates and tests these units and see what that work looks like and see what they're up to. So here we go. Check it out. All right, listener, we're back on assignment again. I'm out in one of the factories again. This time we're going to be looking at a CDU unit, which is a cooling distribution unit. I'm out here with Scott Nieman. Scott, why don't you tell us who you are and what we're looking at?
Thanks, Dan. My name is Scott Nieman. I'm a thermal systems development engineer, and we're looking at a CDU, or coolant distribution unit. And this is essentially a tertiary pumping unit, allowing us to connect our large industrial scale cooling abilities with our chillers and connect them to the technology side of a data center, or essentially the server racks inside of a data center.
So one side of this unit will be fed by chillers, runs through a heat exchanger in the unit, and on the other end, cold water is being provided to the white space in the data center, the computers, all those cooling components.
Exactly. We have two sets of pumps in here in parallel, so it offers some redundancy. And essentially that heat is transferred over onto the facility side and kicked out of the facility through our Trane chillers.
And those pumps are redundant. You said one's operating, one's in standby.
Yeah, almost always we have one operating, one on standby. Sometimes we'll set it into a duty mode, so one pump will run for a set amount of hours, and then the other one will run so that you can get equal amount of run times on them. Or you'll just have one in standby so that if it ever fails, you can switch over to the other one.
Okay, cool. Next thing, this is a really beefy unit. Just when you open up this cabinet and look at it, I see stainless steel valves, fittings, all that kind of stuff. This looks, like I said, heavy duty. Why is that?
It is heavy duty. I mean, on one side, you're saying we're on the industrial scale of things, the regular stuff that we deal with day in and day out. On the other side of things, we're talking data centers, really high-end technology. And they're looking for really clean, really contamination-free cooling on their side. They don't want any sort of contamination getting into the data center and potentially destroying millions of dollars worth of sensitive technology.
Makes a lot of sense. So you want to have a really robust cooling system because what you're cooling is so valuable.
Exactly. We got a lot riding on these things, so we need to make sure we get this right.
what kind of capacity is this?
The one we're looking at right now is a 1 megawatt unit, but we do have options to go up to 2.5 megawatts, and you can combine them together to get a 10 megawatt modular solution.
Okay, cool. And just for the audience, I would say this would be the size of like a large commercial refrigerator.
Yeah.
Maybe if you took one of these in some context.
Yeah, I'd say that. A large commercial refrigerator, essentially the large server racks, if you think.
Yeah.
A large server farm. This kind of fits that same form factor.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Well, Danny boy, another good installment of Dan Inside the Factory. Up next, we've got Stat of the Day.
Here comes your stat of the day. Stat of the day. Stat of the day.
All right, listeners, Stat of the Day, childcare costs by U.S. state. So this is the data is from Wallet Hub. So what we're looking at is, or what we're talking about, is the median percentage of income spent on childcare in the U.S. So the median across the U.S. is about 9%.
9%. Okay.
So we're going to talk about the top states and the bottom states. So where's it the cheapest? Where is it the most expensive? You got, give me your top. What do you think?
I mean, I think the most expensive would be like Northeast states. I'm going to think like New York,
Okay.
Massachusetts, and then I'd probably go hop on an airplane out to California.
What's the least?
Least expensive?
Yeah, most affordable.
Most affordable, I would say like the Midwest or the South.
Yeah, you nailed that one. All right, let's do this. So Hawaii tops the list where families spend 13.5% of their income on childcare. So
Wasn't on my radar.
So the median is 9%. Hawaii's at 13.5%. Oof. Vermont at 13.2%, Oregon 12.9%, and Washington State at 12.6%.
I don't know if I would have guessed those.
To your point, the other ones aren't far behind. Massachusetts is 12.4% and California 12.3%. All right, most affordable. Where you want to live if you want lower cost childcare. South Dakota, 6.7%. That is the lowest. All right, other ones include Mississippi, 7.7%, South Carolina, 7.8%, Alabama, 7.9%.
Okay, my Mississippi, Alabama. I'm going to call South Dakota close enough to the Midwest.
Oh, I definitely think so. Thanks for listening to this episode of Cool Air Hot Takes. Thank you so much to Sam Brown from Serverfarm for coming on and talking to us today. Thank you to the Cool Air Hot Takes production team. Tip of the cap to Elena, Wan Yi, Bailey, Ainsley, Katie, and Christy. You guys are awesome.
And of course, send us questions and hot takes by leaving us a comment on Spotify or YouTube, leaving a review on Apple, or of course, dropping us a message at coolair.hottakes@trane.com. Don't forget, you can also leave us a rating wherever you listen. As always, 5 stars only, please. Until next time, stay cool and keep those takes hot.